Washington, D.C. These people are completely freaked out. And when I say these people, I'm talking about the left and the right. You see, today they found out. They had an inclination that things were, possibly could get crazy with what Trump was planning. With Pete Hegseth and a couple of the other people that he mentioned. But now they know full well that Trump is basically looking to take a blowtorch to Washington, D.C. And now I can confirm that when I talked to you earlier this afternoon and told you that he set up John Thune and that, J.D. Vance can actually walk in and do his recess appointments, yeah, he let John Thune walk into a bear trap. And so now things are reverberating around Washington, and I'm telling you, from what I'm seeing, and he's not done yet. There's a lot of rumors out there. You know what I said about rumors. Don't listen to anybody until Trump nominates somebody. But supposedly, the person that he's got in mind for the FBI is going to make Matt Gaetz look like a schoolgirl. You see, it has now been confirmed that Donald Trump, his intention is to seriously go von Clausewitz and blow it all up. Bring it down to its knees. And finally, for the first time, you're starting to see people on the left and on the right go, oh, he meant that shit. Oh, he's really going to do it, isn't he? Mm-hmm. And you can't stop it. So be worried, because now these people are cornered on both sides. But I'm telling you, both of them are freaking out. There was this tweet came out tonight. It said, a report, an audible gasp among House Republicans when news spread that Trump selected Matt Gaetz for the Attorney General. An audible, yeah, that kind of gasp. Completely freaking out. Read this one. Imagine being Adam Schiff and popping off about the appointment of Matt Gaetz. Now imagine how Schiff feels when he sees this response below from Elon, which I showed earlier. The hammer of justice is coming. There's nowhere for these people to hide now that Trump is in power. They can have a shredding party in all the different buildings in Washington. They've been told to preserve their documents. At this point, the shredding party would put you in jail. Is Trump going after his opponents? Don't know. Depends on who broke the law. Maybe you weren't an opponent, but you happened to break the law. And now he's got to peel back these onion layers and just find all kinds of stuff. I love this what Elon posted. Liberals realizing it's only been a week into a 4-year term that hasn't even started yet. The pain hasn't begun. It's like you're tied to a bench and the person is about to torture you. And he's over there sharpening the knives. And you're seeing him sharpen the knives and go back and forth. And he's playing with the acid and it's getting it ready. And you can't move. You know, the worst horror movie. You're strapped to the chair and you can see everything about to happen and you can't do anything. Meanwhile, the guy's there sharpening his knife and it's only been a week. Imagine this. It's only been 1 week. You don't know what kind of goodies this guy's got in his chest here. He may bring out the 6-prong thingy. Who knows? It's been a week. And already you're seeing people starting to realize, oh my God, I didn't think it was going to be like this. I thought we'd have some control on him. Doesn't look that way. Doesn't look, and the people he's got working with him are kind of smiling and laughing at you. Laughing at you. My biggest takeaway from Trump's cabinet picks so far, says Steve Deese, he's making them pay for the fact that they missed. There's an old adage. And that old adage is, if you come for the king, you better take him out. The worst possible thing you can do is go for the king, do whatever you need to do, and fail. Because when the king arises, he's going to be stronger than ever, and he's going to just turn around and destroy you. Not just take you out, destroy you, leave nothing, just waste you to the point where you're completely irrelevant. You're pebbles on the ground. And now I think people are starting to understand Trump means business, doesn't he? He's really going to try and take out the entirety of the Democrat Party. Yes. Yes, he is. And you did it to yourselves. You see, you've been so scummy for so many years. You've stolen from the American people for so many years. You got used to it. You went back in 1963 and we saw what appeared to be something I can't say here. Oh, by the way, that's shit too. We can't talk. All of it is being torn down. It's like a wrecking ball coming in and going, no more. This is not how America's supposed to be. You're all done. And if you don't get on the right side of this guy, which is basically get on the right side of Americans, you're going to get your businesses wrecked. So eventually, y'all up here, you may think you're bigger than, you know, you're like too big to rig. You're too big to hurt. Well, go ahead and doubt what this man is going to do. The best way to understand the Matt Gaetz pick is that it's a statement by Trump that it's not 2016 anymore, and there will be no internal coup against this sitting president. You see, some people are starting to recognize this and going, holy crap, he means this, right? Yeah, he meant to pull the pin. Get ready. Let's see what this one says. That was the Adam Carlson. And then this happens today, almost like waving the white flag. This was at 6 o'clock, 6:08 p.m., as you can see. Just in, Jack Smith is officially moving, putting a motion in forth to drop the classified documents case against President-elect Trump. It's over. Judge Merchan, if I were you, knowing what your daughter has been doing for the Democrat Party, you might want to quietly just make that New York case go away. We are seeing a take no prisoners, have no mercy attitude. Quietly. Smiling in your face. Hi, how you doing? We're going to make America great again. And you never saw it coming. Never saw it coming. And now look at you. He's only a week in. Obviously, what you're seeing is a man who has planned these moves, all of them. He knew where he was going. He knew how he was going to take it apart. Just get me elected. Just get me into office, and I will bring this entire diseased temple down on its head. Again, that's from the movie Law Abiding Citizen. I will bring the entire diseased temple down on its head. And if you happen to be Democrat or Republican and are scum, you're going to get caught. And so right now, rats are scurrying. I mean, absolutely scurrying. Take a listen.
I've heard from some of your Democratic colleagues in the House who are concerned, this was before Matt Gaetz was the pick, that a Trump DOJ might target them, that they could be investigated. Do you think that that is going to be part of Gaetz's repertoire? Is he going to be settling scores?
Well, I don't know. I don't want to speak for Matt or speak for the Trump administration.
Do you have a concern that would happen?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure with this pick, they're not just going to go around and shut down puppy mills. All right, this is a very serious pick, and Donald Trump is obviously telegraphing that he means business. Matt Gaetz is one of his best weapons in Congress. He's taking him out of Congress, and he's giving him the Attorney General's office.
And this is a Democrat congressman saying this isn't a Republican. This is Moskowitz down here in Florida, and he's talking about what's coming.
So again, I've known Matt for 10 years. Matt is very good at what Matt does in Congress, and now he's going to bring that to the Attorney General's office. And so I don't want to get ahead of what their plans are, but Donald Trump is very clear on what he plans to do with DOJ by giving it to Matt Gaetz.
It's not going to happen. I know that's a different take than anyone else's, but it's not going to happen. And so if the president-elect wanted to amuse us today during these dark times, I will give him credit for having a sense of humor, because I didn't think he had a sense of humor, but this shows that he might have a sense of humor. Puff.
You're sounding kind of scared, Swalwell. It's not gonna happen. You think it's a joke? You think Trump just woke up this morning and said, you know what? Let's play a joke on everybody. Let me go ahead and name Matt Gaetz as my Attorney General, and everyone can laugh. Eric Swalwell is giving himself away here. He's hoping it's a joke. Please tell me this is a joke. He's not really going to do this, is he? Yeah, he did it.
Daddy, did he? Maybe cheering in his cell for this, but no one else in America is asking for this. And I have more confidence than you probably would think I should have that the Senate is never going to let this see the light of day.
And
the Senate is never going to let this see the light of day. That's what your prayer is. Your prayer is that John Thune and the rest of the senators will never allow this to happen, and that they will stop it in its tracks, and Matt Gaetz could never become Attorney General. You heard anything about these recess appointments, Eric? You do know what a recess appointment is, right? You don't think that Trump, who won with a landslide and a mandate, is going to be able to do what he plans on doing?
one day Trump made clear that he'll use the recess appointments. Do you not believe him, or do you not think that Matt Gaetz is eligible for a recess appointment?
I believe that such an unserious appointment like this, by appointing somebody who clearly would abuse the power at the Department of Justice, has to move senators to not allow a recess appointment, because
not an answer. Senators can't not allow it. What they got to do?
this would just wreak chaos on the American criminal justice system. So again, I don't want people to get too spun up about this. I don't want to ruin how this is going to end. But the spoiler alert is Matt Gaetz is not going to be the Attorney General. I actually, knowing Donald Trump, and I have been on this guy for 8 years, Russia investigation, impeachment. I have my own lawsuit against him. I testified.
He knows that, Eric. You're not saying anything to detract him. He knows he's coming for you.
In the Colorado case to keep him off the ballot. This to me feels more like the opening of a negotiation, trying to own the libs. And I just caution all of us, let's not spin ourselves up too much, because this is never going to happen.
Tim Miller.
I mean, I would describe it as God tier level trolling to just trigger a full-on China syndrome to own the libs in perpetuity.
So, some of the libs are like, this can't be real. There's no way this can be real. So I'm going to take you back a few weeks ago. A few weeks ago, one of the rallies. Something happened at the rally, and it caused everyone watching to sit back and go, what the hell is he talking about? What is Trump talking about? So I'm going to play this moment from that rally, and I want to bring you back to that moment where you guys can all go, oh, listen to this.
We got to get the senators elected, because we can take the Senate pretty easily. And I think with our little secret, we're going to do really well with the House, right? Our little secret is having a big impact. He and I have a secret. We'll tell you what it is when the race is over. My colleague says...
Do you know who he was talking to? He was talking to Matt Gaetz. He was telegraphing something that nobody, including us, we watched it. What's the secret? What secret? Tell us the secret. Oh, we got a little secret. We'll tell them about it after the election is over, right? Right. And nobody knew who he was talking about. Nobody knew what he was talking about. Now we do. Now we know what he was talking about. We all watched the rally. Many of you watched it with me, and we saw him do that. I remember commenting after and go, what secret, man? Don't leave us hanging. And he said, after the election. And now he's dropped the secret. Matt Gaetz is going to be the Attorney General. We got the House put together. Why did he know this? Because Matt Gaetz is giving up his seat in the House. Elise Stefanik giving up her seat in the House. Mike Waltz giving up his seat in the House. He basically raided Florida and created the Florida United States government. Rubio, just think for yourself all the people he's basically nominated so far. Himself is president. Rubio is Secretary of State. Waltz, Mike Waltz is, I forget what he is, Florida. And just on and on and on. He is basically taking Florida and he's wrapped his arms around it and said, you people are going to be it for me. Pretty smart. So if you haven't seen the shredding that Matt Gaetz can do, you'll like this.
Passed the strongest border bills in history. Well, guess what? Look at the border right now. We didn't use sufficient leverage in the debt limit or in any other thing to actually get results on the border. The border is a disaster, really something I don't think you're going to be campaigning on, that you fixed the border. Second, you said you streamlined regulations. What the gentleman from Louisiana doesn't tell you is that all of the regulatory reform he was just bragging about is waivable by the stroke of a pen of someone in the Biden White House. Do you really think you got anything for that? It's a total joke. And then finally, the welfare to work that the gentleman from Louisiana said we got. The welfare programs that they said that they streamlined with their welfare to work stuff, they're actually going to grow. Because while they did work requirements, they blew out those programs with expanded eligibility. I'm real glad you guys didn't put work requirements on Medicaid. It probably would have resulted in Medicaid expansion. And when it comes to how those raise money, I take no lecture on asking patriotic Americans to weigh in and contribute to this fight from those who would grovel and bend knee for the lobbyists and special interests who own our leadership, who have, boo all you want, who have hollowed out this town and have borrowed against the future.
Boo all you want. That just wasn't Democrats.
Of our future generations. I'll be happy to fund my political operation through the work of hardworking Americans, $10 and $20 and $30 at a time, and you all keep showing up at the lobbyist fundraisers and see how that goes for you. I reserve.
Scott, I don't.
So people started seeing this pop up, and it was all over X. And of course, as I told you, I was going to start checking the news shows to see, what's the response on the news? Like a funeral pyre. I mean, they're basically stunned, shocked. Insert word here, freaking out. They can't even imagine that this guy actually could be the Attorney General of the United States. It's that bad.
I'm divulging or betraying any confidences to say that when we told you the news, you were in disbelief.
Are you not entertained? I mean, this is the most entertaining transition I've ever seen. No, I was as surprised as Paula, because it's not a name that we had seen. We'd seen some reporting, a lot of different names, frankly, a lot of really sort of well-heeled Washington legal types that were on the list. So I'm as surprised as anyone. But what I take away from this is that this is a president-elect who is feeling his power. I mean, this is someone who is appointing people to things, whether it's Gaetz or anything else we've seen today, who is feeling his power, feeling his influence, doesn't feel like he's in a mood to negotiate with the people in Washington, D.C. He's here to do what he wants to do, and he's going to expect the Republicans to fall in line. Now,
he's not here to negotiate. That's a point, Eric Swalwell, you missed. He's not here. Doesn't have to negotiate. He's got the Senate. He's got the House. He's got the president of the Senate. He can do recess appointments. He can do everything. He's got the pen. He can do executive orders. You can run to the court anytime you want. He's already set that up as well. SCOTUS has already said so many things that he can do. I understand you're going to try and gum up the water and sue as much as you can, but there's no negotiating, no deals. Deals are off. I asked a question earlier. I said, how many of you guys would recommend that Trump would or should pardon Hunter Biden? And it was like overwhelming, 90%. I'm like, no deals. And so he was put into office, which is, I don't think a lot of people realize, he was put into office to do exactly what he's doing.
These people, whether it's Gates or Hegseth or anyone else, have to go to confirmation and go through these committee hearings and prove themselves like anyone else. But it is apparent to me that Trump...
Nope, you missed it too, Scott. That was the whole thing, why he was so adamant about recess appointments.
...is in a decisive mood and is not someone who's interested in picking things that he would consider to be watered down. So that's my initial reaction to this one. I mean, we truly learned about it 2 seconds before we came on here, so pretty wild day.
Yeah, we have to see. It is on Trump's Truth Social account. It is coming from his mouth, right? It's coming from his account. Megan, your reaction?
I mean, yesterday we had a bunch of conventional picks. I think people felt good about where we were going and maybe thought that he was going to be a little bit more moderated than we were expecting. And then today brought a whole new set of...
Why would you feel he was going to be moderate? Because I played for you yesterday. One of the guys on CNN was like, oh, the establishment's winning. Maybe not. Maybe now you realize he's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve at this point, and there's really nothing you can do.
People to confirm, so I think it's a little bit shocking with this and with Tulsi Gabbard with DNI. So I just, I think it will be interesting to see what tomorrow brings, but I do agree. Who knows if this is going to, how many of these people are going to actually get confirmed? I think there are a lot of people.
Who do you think who do you think will have the most trouble being confirmed? And do you expect that there will be some who are not?
You see, they're still in a different mindset. They're in this box, and they don't realize what Trump's game plan is. Who's talking confirmations? Why is CNN sitting here going, you think he'll get confirmed and that person will get confirmed? Did you not hear what he said? Have you not read what he's put out there? Did you not see what Elon Musk put out there? Did you not see what RFK Jr.? They're going the recess appointment route. They are going to try and get every single person that he nominates into office. Maybe he'll give you a bone and let you go ahead and do the confirmations with Marco Rubio, which is probably the easiest one. Or maybe with Kristi Noem. Let those two be the ones that will appease you. Go ahead and have your confirmation hearings and your 5 minutes apiece and make some television sound bites. These guys here, my real pit bulls, not so much. Not so much.
Well, look, I think that for the most part, these people, they do have qualifications. Matt Gaetz is a lawyer, and he has been in Congress, and obviously is a supporter of the president's agenda, and he'll have supporters in the Senate. They all get a chance to go and compete and go and
He's been on both sides of the legal system, as it were.
So, but he, like...
You're making it sound funny. Oh, he's being investigated. Guess what? Guess what, CNN lady? That House investigation that was perpetrated against Matt Gaetz and had some blown up charges. Guess what happens on January 20th? Oh yeah, it goes away. In addition, it only even stands because it's an ethics violation, which means when he's no longer a congressman, there's nothing to investigate. I sometimes think these people on TV are absolutely stupid. Unless there's a script that they can read, they don't understand how anything works. Matt Gaetz is under investigation with a House ethics complaint that was put forth by the Biden administration. On January 20th, it is going to be the Trump administration. That would normally just go away, but it won't have to, because he'll no longer be in the House. You see, you can't do an ethics investigation on someone who's not in the body you're investigating for. He won't be in the House. So that's moot. And talking head lady has no clue whatsoever that entire thing would absolutely go away.
What else? They have to go up there and prove themselves, but you can't underestimate Donald Trump's influence over the Republicans in the Senate on this, and he's going to be insistent that he get his government and his administration. And look, here's the thing. He won. And he won the popular vote, and he believes he has a mandate, and honestly, I think he does too. And some of these picks are conventional. Marco Rubio, for instance, well-known name. But some of them are designed to shake up Washington. And I am assuming that's what Donald Trump believes he's doing here with a few of these folks, is I'm not here to pick the Washington people, I'm here to pick the people who will shake up Washington. That's going to be one of them.
Communicating with these state and
I got a few clips in here where Matt Gaetz is just eviscerating somebody. I believe this is the one where he goes after Merrick Garland, whose job he's about to have.
local prosecutions against Trump. You can clear it all up for us right now. Will the Department of Justice provide to the committee all documents, all correspondence between the department and Alvin Bragg's office and Fonnie Willis' office and Letitia James's office?
The offices you're referring to are independent offices of state.
I get that.
State.
The question is whether or not you will provide all of your documents and correspondence. That's the question. I don't need a history lesson.
Well, I'm going to say again, we do not control those offices. They make their own decisions.
The question is whether you communicate with them, not whether you control them. Do you communicate with them, and will you provide those communications?
Make a request. We'll refer it to our Office of Legislative Affairs.
But see, here's the thing. You come in here and you lodge this attack that it's a conspiracy theory that there is coordinated lawfare against Trump. And then when we say, fine, just give us the documents, give us the correspondence, and then if it's a conspiracy theory, that will be evident. But when you say, well, we'll take your request, and then we'll sort of work it through the DOJ's accommodation process, then you're actually advancing the very dangerous conspiracy theory that you're concerned about. Now, you were a judge, once nominated the highest court in our country. When you were a judge, I'm just curious, did you ever make political donations to partisan candidates?
No.
No, and you didn't, because that would create the potential appearance of impropriety.
I didn't, because there's a federal rule barring federal judges from making contributions.
Right, but under that same theory of attacks on the judicial process, like, shouldn't someone be owed like a jury of their peers and a judge that's non-biased, rather than getting a judge from your political opponent's donor file?
I'm well aware that you're not asking a hypothetical. You're asking me to comment on a jury verdict in another jurisdiction which has to be respected. I won't comment on it. That case is still ongoing. The defendant...
Not anymore.
Attorney General, I hadn't asked you about the verdict yet. We were getting there. I was talking about the judge. And so let me ask you this question about your time as a judge. Was there ever a time when you were a judge when you had a family member who was personally profiting off of the notoriety of a case that was before your court?
So right now he's asking in a roundabout way about Judge Merchan. Judge Merchan's daughter is a huge bundler of donations for the DNC. And he is sitting as the adjudicator for Trump's case. And he was tying Merrick Garland, this is just pure great lawfare.
I'm going to say again, it's very clear you're asking me to comment on a case in another jurisdiction.
No, hold on, Mr. Attorney General. Did you ever have a family member profit off of the notoriety of any case that you sat over?
Say again, you're asking
yes or no?
You're asking me to comment on a case currently.
Well, it seems you're connecting the dots, Mr. Attorney General. I'm just asking you as to a general principle, but you are aware that Judge Merchan's daughter was profiting off of this prosecution. You are aware that that creates the appearance of impropriety. You know the very reason there's a federal rule against judges giving donations is because it is the very attack on the judicial process that we're concerned about.
Just pray and thank God that Merrick Garland never got on the Supreme Court. This guy is one of the worst I've ever seen. He had to have known as an attorney where Matt Gaetz was going. And the last thing that Matt Gaetz expected him to do, that's why he kind of smiled, is you just connected the dots that I was leading you to, which means you do know. You do know that's improper. But your DOJ didn't do anything.
Sorry, I don't agree with anything you just said, but I'm not going to comment on it.
Okay, so you won't comment on it, Mr. Attorney General, but you had no problem dispatching Matthew Colangelo. Who's Matthew Colangelo?
That is false. I did not dispatch Matthew Colangelo.
Matthew Colangelo became the Assistant Attorney General at the very beginning of the Biden administration. Without having been Senate confirmed, goes and gets this senior role at the DOJ, and then after, I believe it's Gupta replaces Colangelo, Colangelo makes this remarkable downstream career journey from the U.S. Department of Justice in Washington, D.C., and then pops up in Alvin Bragg's office to go get Trump. And you're saying...
All right, so let me just recap what he's saying, because many people may not have been following the trial back then. Matthew Colangelo was a rising star in the Department of Justice. He had risen to Assistant Attorney General. Big his business card. He decides to resign from the Department of Justice to go work in a local court in New York that just happened to be trying Donald Trump, and he took a sub-level position under Alvin Bragg. And everyone just looked the other way like this was, no, that's just normal. I'm sure he took a $100,000 cut in pay and moved to New York and got out of the federal government and decided to go work for a state prosecutor. Said no one ever.
That's just a career choice that was made that has nothing to do with the lawfare coordinated by the...
saying it's false. I did not dispatch Mr. Colangelo anywhere.
Well, do you know how he ended up there?
I assume he applied for a job there and got the job.
But see, you know what?
I tell you, I had nothing to do with it.
Well, you might not have had anything to do with it, but we've got this contemporaneous evidence in Mr. Pomerantz's book. So Pomerantz writes this book, which I'm sure you're aware of, where he says, we put together the legal eagles to get Trump. We got all these folks together.
See, this to me is one of the problems with these hearings. These hearings really have no meat to them, no teeth. You can catch somebody lying, you can catch somebody playing games, and it really means nothing. You can present all this, and he can just say nope, or not even show up as he did, but he didn't go to jail. But now, if this guy, Matt Gaetz, will be the Attorney General, now he can get you into an actual court and ask you questions. And you can't play footsie like Merrick Garland is playing right now.
And we assembled them for that purpose. And so when we on the Judiciary Committee think about attacks on the judicial process, our concern is that the facts and the law aren't being followed. A target is acquired here, Trump, and then you assemble the legal talent from DOJ, Mr. Pomerantz, and you bring everybody in to get him. And meanwhile, the judge is making money on it. The judge is making money on it. The judge's family's making money on it for stuff that you yourself wouldn't do. You know, no one's going to buy this. No one's going to believe it. It's going to create great disruption. And I am saddened by it because, like you, I have given my life to the law. I care deeply about the law. And I think that the lawfare we've seen against President Trump will do great damage well beyond our time in public service. I see my time's expired. I yield back. I'm sitting.
I saw somebody make a comment that I was embellishing or explaining what Matt Gaetz was saying, but not saying what Merrick Garland was saying. Well, Merrick Garland wasn't saying anything. You see, if you just keep denying, you're not offering up any evidence. Nope, I didn't know. What do you want me to explain about that? Nope, I don't know. Nope, it wasn't that way. Anyone with actual eyes who can infer and listen, you can tell when somebody, well, most of us can. Most of us can tell when somebody's lying to us. Most of us can tell when somebody's obfuscating. So if I ask you a question and it's an obvious answer, like for instance when he asked him, Matthew Colangelo, how did he get in New York? And he said, well, Matthew may have applied for a job. And so you being an intelligent, functioning adult, you have to come somehow, if you were on a jury, you have to think to yourself and say, this guy's making maybe a couple $100,000 working for Merrick Garland. And then all of a sudden, he decides to leave the office of the Attorney General and just so happens to land in the same court where Trump is being tried. I'm sorry, I can deduce. I can say this doesn't make any sense. A high-level functioning in line for the Attorney General leaves that job, goes down to a much less paying job in New York City at, just so be it, the court that's going after Trump. He didn't go to Milwaukee. He didn't go to Detroit. He didn't go to Boston. He just happened to go to the exact same court in the exact same jurisdiction where they were going after Trump. I'm sorry, if you can't draw that parallel, I can't really help you. Nothing I can do.
With my father, I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father. Sounds like a shakedown, doesn't it, Director?
I'm not going to get into commenting on that.
You seem deeply uncurious about it, don't you? Almost suspiciously uncurious. Are you protecting the Bidens?
Absolutely not. The FBI does not and has no interest in
you won't answer the question about whether or not that's a shakedown, and everybody knows why you won't answer it. Because to the millions of people who will see this, they know it is. And your inability to acknowledge that is deeply revealing about you.
Here, what's your reaction to...
So before we go any further, Christopher Wray is out the door as well. It's just amazing, you know, all these high-priced people running these agencies are finding it, you know, in their best interest to fly the coop. And what I'm hearing about not only who is being picked to be to be the head of the FBI, in addition to being picked as the head, what his intentions are with the FBI. Maybe that comes out tonight, maybe that comes out tomorrow, but it could be absolutely shocking.
Gates is the Attorney General.
Well, Jake, when I was first informed that President-elect Trump had nominated Congressman Matt Gaetz to be the next Attorney General, I was speechless. I've had some time to gather my thoughts. I think this is a deadly serious challenge to the Senate's constitutional advice and consent role. And as a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, I'll engage in the confirmation process where we consider the qualifications, the ethics and character, and the policy views of nominees.
Why? You didn't do it before. Why is it immediately something that's, oh my God, we have to investigate this? It's not like you didn't know who he was. He's been there for quite some time. But now you find it amongst yourself to say this is a serious constitutional matter. How? The president has the power to nominate anybody he wants. How is it constitutionally threatening? What makes this man a constitutional threat to the Democrats? Jake Tapper, you get paid $7 million a year. You didn't ask him that? Well, how is this a constitutional threat? America wants to know. What has Matt Gaetz done to make him a constitutional threat?
I just heard your reporting where Senator Rubio was saying the president's entitled to his pick. And generally, that's correct. But the Senate has a critical guardrail function to play where we should look at whether someone is appropriate to serve in a role.
Did you know that? Did you know that all of a sudden, yes, he could pick, but we need to determine if they're appropriate. Whose definition of appropriate are you going to use? And why would someone not be appropriate who was a congressman who was elected from his constituency here in Florida not be appropriate for an office in the executive suite? Make that make sense. Matt Gaetz is a congressman. He's a sitting congressman. He's from Florida. He was elected. I believe he was elected twice. So he's gone through the process where people have said, that's the guy we want. And now Trump picks him and says, I'm going to move you from being a congressman, and I'm going to put you in the C-suite. But now it's not appropriate. They're showing their utter panic. What is it that Matt Gaetz is going to do that has them so freaked out? that should make you wonder at this point. Wait, why are you guys all freaked out? What? He's just another congressman. I mean, he's no different than Rubio or Tulsi. I mean, why all of a sudden is this guy making you people so afraid?
The Attorney General is the top law enforcement officer of the United States. And given an ongoing ethics investigation in the House, given some of the allegations that have been made against Congressman Gates, and given some of his conduct, I think this will be a robust and thorough confirmation process. My hope is that my colleagues in the Republican caucus will urge the president to reconsider.
Do you think they're
so understand, like the other guy I showed you earlier who was from the deep state, they have nothing. We're hoping we can convince my colleagues who are Republicans to agree with us that no, you can't have him. Well, what happens if Trump pushes him through with a recess appointment? Even Chris Coons didn't want to talk about that. They still think it's going to be business as usual. You get your 5 minutes of attacking somebody, then it goes to the next person 5 minutes, and then you have your ceremonial vote, and it's a month or two later, and then you determine whether or not this person is deemed appropriate to be an attorney general. And Trump is telegraphing. He's told you, I'm going to push through recess appointments. You're not going to slow me down. It's as if these people don't want to even understand or acknowledge what Trump is trying to do and what kind of superpower he's pushing behind it. That tells me the fact that they don't even want to discuss that this could be a problem, that he's named Matt Gaetz. They didn't, number one, they didn't think he was going to win. Number two, they didn't think he was serious. And number three, they didn't think he would move this fast. Number four, they didn't think it would be a landslide where he would take everything. And so now they're all freaking out, and they have no idea. Literally, you're watching people with no idea how to stop Trump, trying to figure out some legal maneuver they can make to muck up the water here. And they have no way to stop it. None. And so they're asking my Republican colleagues, hey guys, we can't vote this guy in. You can't do it. Why? What remember, the House ethics complaint goes away if he's no longer in the House. January comes, it gets dismissed. We have the votes. In any event, just remember this as I'm showing you this, if he's no longer in the House, there is no complaint. There is no investigation. It's over. And I don't think they expect what's about to happen.
Be 5 Republicans in the Senate that are willing to vote against any of the president's picks?
I don't know. But as I said, that will be the key test of whether or not the Senate plays its important constitutional role as a guardrail, as an organization, an institution that says to an executive who's just won a broad national mandate, we will confirm your nominees, but not all of them, not anyone, not without regard to their character and qualifications.
So notice he said constitutionally that they have the right to do this. Well, you do know, in case you don't, let me be the one to tell you that a recess appointment is also constitutional. It's not making an end run around the Constitution. It is the Constitution. You can make a recess appointment. In addition, if you guys want to go look it up, people are like, we somehow could do these fake sessions where we're here but we're not really here. Well, the president himself can adjourn Congress. Hey, by the way, you guys are now on vacation for 10 days. Scatto. Oh, did you know that? I'm sure Chris Coons knows it. He just does. It's blowing their minds at this point because they're facing a Mack truck coming at them, and they're finally realizing, oh shit, he knows what he can do. Because he didn't mention recess, and he didn't mention that Trump has the power to adjourn Congress whenever he feels like it. Go look that up. Because you're not hearing it from Jake Tapper, you're not hearing it from any of these people. For some reason, they don't want to even let you know that is the power of the president. You would not have known if you'd looked at this segment on CNN with him talking, or with Eric Swalwell earlier, that there is anything called a recess appointment. You would know. They don't mention it. They don't want the public to know. So that's why I'm saying it so much, so you guys understand. And you've seen from some of the stuff I posted, that's where Trump is going. He is going to put these people in. He gave John Thune, he congratulated him early because he was going to give him the chance. But John Thune at that press conference didn't give him the right answers. The reporter asked him in the press conference, are you going to push through Trump's nominees through the recess appointments? And he danced. There's no dancing here. That should have been an unequivocal yes. That's what Rick Scott was going to do. John Thune is one of the guys that they're hoping will help them delay Trump. And Trump knows the law. He knows that this will not survive a challenge. He could adjourn you. Day one when he gets sworn in, Congress is... Yeah, he can do that. And when you're adjourned, he can have J.D. Vance make recess appointments. It's coming. That's why they're freaked out. They don't want to tell people about the recess appointments, but that's what's coming. Trust me, that's coming.
In some ways, the first couple of announcements, like Senator Marco Rubio, were reassuring. Folks who have relevant experience, who've served on relevant committees here in the Senate for many years, and who have well-informed policy views on critical roles. The contrast between Senator Rubio and Congressman Gates.
Now, I just happened to look over and somebody said recess appointments are only temporary. You might want to go look that up a little bit more. You might want to go look and see how long recess appointments are actually for. Then you might want to look at what happens when he renews a recess appointment. And then you might want to go look at, I don't know, maybe 2026, and when he identifies who the people are that have gotten in his way, and Elon Musk decides, listen, we're going to fund anybody to challenge you. Because today, if you missed the show earlier, Elon Musk came out and said, anybody, any congressman, any senator that stands in the way of the recess appointments, he will personally fund the other person running against them. That's called checkmate. I can go ahead and give you a recess appointment now. It may expire in 18 months, or I can renew it. But then again, the person in Congress who are causing all these problems, who won't go ahead and do quick confirmations, guess what? They won't be here. You want to screw around and find out, John Thune? You want to see if Elon Musk is serious about writing a check for $1 million or $2 million? You might want to rewind in this campaign, and you'll see he was writing $1 million a day. This man doesn't care. He's still keeping his PAC open. Go look it up. Any of you guys, go look it up. He's keeping the America PAC open specifically for this.
Wow.
So if John Thune doesn't do what he's supposed to do, they're going to make sure that there's somebody running against John Thune, and they're going to make sure that the person running against John Thune is loaded and can bury him.
Track the trail.
I'm not telling you anything you can't verify on your own. If somebody comes up with a comment, understand, if I happen to see it, I'm going to try and give you some edification, but you've got to take it upon yourself to go review that information.
Another one.
That's how it works here. It's a two-way street. So now you've got that information, the person who posted that about being temporary, go look at the process in its entirety. And then understand, if you want me to post it again, where Elon Musk said, I'm going to take out anybody who goes against us. Let me go ahead and pull that up real quick, just in case you must have not been here earlier. But I'll go ahead and show you that. Let's see if I can get it real quickly, because this was really important that people understood what he said he's going to do. He tweets so much. Let me see if I can find it real quick. You know what I'll do? I'll let this play while I look.
On all of those areas is fairly stark.
So Andrew Weissman, this to me, while shocking and galling, is the least surprising thing Trump has done since he won. I think since he won Tuesday night, yesterday he put Marco Rubio atop the State Department, and people at this table said, oh, this isn't going to be so bad. On Monday, he made the announcement that he would turn to recess appointments. It's obvious that this trio of Fox News anchors, Matt Gaetz, whose biggest war in Washington is with Kevin McCarthy, and Tulsi Gabbard, was what the recess appointment was all about.
Yeah, I sort of had two reactions to this announcement, and one is very similar to yours, which is we have in the president-elect somebody who is clearly not tethered to facts or law. With respect to facts, we know he has said repeatedly that there was a fraud in the election and he won it, and we know that is not true, and he lost all of the cases but one, and that one was on some technical issue. So he is adhering to a world where facts and law don't matter, and so we shouldn't be surprised that he is selected to nominate, yet to be confirmed, somebody for the Attorney General and somebody for the Department of National Intelligence that are not just unqualified, but have shown that they're untethered to the facts and maybe also the law. So that shouldn't.
This is one of the first guys who'll probably end up going to jail. Andrew Weissman is probably as dirty as they come, and he's probably one of the first ones that they will put in jail. Everything he just said is a complete lie. It's on MSNBC, so they can do whatever misinformation they want. Doesn't seem to matter. So he doesn't want to let the MSNBC audience know that at this point, everything Trump is doing is specifically by the book. Specifically. So let's continue.
Be surprising. And the other is really this idea of that somehow Matt Gaetz is going to be the person who prevents and stops weaponization when he is the exhibit A to weaponization. I mean, we are in pure George Orwell 19.
Did you hear the answer to the recess appointment? Did you hear him answer what she said? Hey, listen, he thinks he can do these recess appointments. Andrew didn't answer that. They're terrified. They know exactly what this means. And a lot of people don't understand recess appointments and how they're put together and how they work. I wanted to show you this because, here is something that came up. This is what I was telling you earlier. Elon Musk is threatening to fund primary challenges against congressmen and senators who go against the Trump agenda, per multiple Capitol Hill sources. So here's a guy who writes $1 million checks for fun. And if you go against this agenda, John Thune, Tim Scott, all of you, they're going to make sure there's a challenger in your race who is extremely well funded. Is that legal? Yep. He's got an American PAC. He's got a PAC. He can do that. You might need to scurry and go suck up to George Soros. But yes, he can do that.
1984 land where, they say black is white and we're supposed to believe it.
On this, I'm looking at the speed of these nominations and the type of them, and there are no F's given. It's the difference between wanting something and deciding. In 2016, Trump wanted to be president. He wanted to lead. He wanted to get stuff done. Second time around, he's decided. There's no longer any decision making. You can feel it. It's deliberate. It's definitive. We felt this way before. You wanted to move. You wanted to quit a job. You wanted to end a relationship. And then there's that moment that you decide, and boom, 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 boom. Everyone around you realizes, wow, this is more than a victory. In fact, it's transformational. It's not just that the Democrats were vanquished, but an entire age has closed. The death of identity politics, it's there, of race-based reward and punishment, the tyranny of the aggrieved. And a new age has started, and I echo Jesse again. I've never been more hopeful or optimistic in my life. This wasn't just an election. It was a turning point, and I want Democrats to thrive during this period. But the only way for the Democrats to be happy, whether they like it or not, is they have to think less about identity and more about the outside world. Start with your...
So it's that simple. What you're seeing on MSNBC with the likes of Nicole Wallace, who still calls herself a Republican, and what you're seeing on CNN and, you know, with Joy Reid and Mika and Joe and all these people, is they're holding on to something that they thought was going to work. The DEI, the Transformers, the changing of our language so we can't say certain words because certain people might get offended. Everything that they've worked so hard to push is collapsing right in front of them. And there's no way for them to stop what's coming. It became a catchphrase with that letter in the alphabet, number 17, when people used to say, no one can stop what is coming. Now it's actually come to fruition. And truly, no one can stop what is coming. So you either conform, get back to normal, whatever kind of normal you can get back to, otherwise you're going to have a really miserable existence. We're done. Trump is done playing. And I see so many people talking about this and that, and the Eric Swalwell, and they keep talking about antiquity. That stuff was a relic. It's gone. At this point, like Greg Gutfeld just said, you know, I want Americans to thrive. Why do you not want Americans to thrive? Now, it's very simple. You either embrace a nation of prosperity and safety and health, or you're going to be rendered completely irrelevant. You won't even matter. You'll never see another election win because people are going to feel the difference like they already have felt. None of us wants to pussyfoot around and say we can't say certain words, we can't do certain things. Simply, I'm not talking about saying something offensive. I wouldn't call any alternative lifestyle person the F word. That's bad. That's like me being called the N word. But I should be able to say, you know, baby removal without worrying about what people might think. I should be able to call a transformer what they are. It doesn't make any sense. If you had to go so far as to get the social networks and technology to basically shut people up, then what you're doing and what you're saying isn't really something people want. You make up this much of the population, maybe smaller, and yet you've got everybody to completely flip and kowtow to you when they can't live their lives the way they want to live. And that's exactly what Greg is saying right here.
Family and your friends and your spirituality. Don't listen to the View and where they say you should cut off these people that disagree with you. That is a mistake. You see so many upset people right now, and it's because they became obsessed about their identity, which feeds into your ego. And then when your ego takes a hit, you're miserable. So if you live outside yourself and you remove identity politics, you remove the fuel for your ego. Identity politics was a complicated word for me. This is why when you saw people entrenched in it, they were so miserable. They were so blind. They couldn't talk to other people. You know, if you replace that inner turmoil with curiosity and service for the outside world, you will be so much happier. It's really ironic that Make America Great Again is about the future.
Yeah.
It's very simple. We're not the weird ones. If I can turn on X or TikTok any time of day and see somebody shaving their head because Trump won, the statement that you're making is about you, not about me. I don't care. If you have long hair and you have beautiful hair, that's fine. But if you're shaving your hair off because Trump won, that's a psychosis you got to deal with, not me. I don't even understand what these women are thinking. Do they think it's going to bother us, the normies? I don't care if you cut off your hair. I'm not dating you. I'm married. Other guys are just going to go, thank you for self-identifying. Now I know to stay away from you. And then you got other women out there saying, we won't have sex with our husbands and boyfriends for 4 years. Don't worry about that. You won't have a husband or boyfriend if that's the route you're going to take with your insanity. It's all about me, is exactly what Greg just said. It's me, 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 me. I'm mad. You can't tell me what to do. I'm going to shave my head. I'm going to look like a complete nut because I'm not getting what I wanted. You know, many of us had kids. And we used to see the kids throw temper tantrums. If they didn't get what they wanted, they'd go crawl on the floor and bang stuff or whatever. And you looked at them like, do you think that's making me change my mind? Every single one of you who are a parent, and every single one of you that was a kid, you think to yourself, when you were a kid, and the temper tantrums you may have thrown. You may have cried and screamed, I'm not doing it. Well, if you survived, after the ass whooping you probably got back in the day, you realize you didn't get what you wanted. Somehow these kids who are part of the T-ball class and these kids who are part of Everybody Gets a Trophy have grown up to be adults who want to shave their head. Because that's their temper tantrum du jour. Now it's about that. That's all you're showing us. It's you who have a problem. I knew we were going to get down this road when I mentioned earlier when I started seeing the participation trophy, and then I remember seeing something where people were getting nap time at work. Nap time? What do you mean nap time? Hey, we're going to take naps now. And like we created a generation of people who only cared about me, me, me. And now they're craving attention. They're posting stuff. You're actually posting a video to let us know you are crazy. Understand that. What kind of mentality it must take to basically post videos showing you're nuts. And they don't think twice about it. Because most of us are looking at it and going, wow, this person's crazy. This is absolutely nuts. There's a video going around about some woman who says she slept with like 1,000 guys or something. I'm like, you're crazy. You're absolutely nuts. I don't know what social media has done with people. Maybe it's because these things that we're walking around with are actually small movie studios, and all you've got to do is just click the button and push. And so it has created a nation of neurotics fueled on by the DEI wokeism. You're okay to be a nut, is what they've been telling everybody. You're okay not to conform and have hair and things poking out your nose and all the time. Do that. And then get pissed when you can't get a job. No, I'm not hiring that. Nope. Well, I'm going to sue because you won't hire me. Go for it. Let's continue with Greg.
Because it's talking about the past. But you found out that the Dems were the past in every respect. They felt it necessary to judge present-day individuals by people who existed 100, 200 years ago. We're innocent. They also relied on past media narratives about how people were. This is how black people think. This is how brown people think, right? And they missed out on the sentiment of millions and millions of people. The country no longer was buying what they were selling, and they wanted to do something. Now they decided.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I can't tell you how many people in the last couple of years have told me, you're black, you should feel this way. And I think to myself, what the hell does that mean? How are you telling me how I should feel about my life? I don't tell you about you. If you want to shave your head, go for it. Absolutely. If you want to pierce yourself crazy, go for it. You want to sleep with 800 guys and film it? Go for it. I don't care. You're not going to tell me how I should live because I'm black. See, that's where this whole DEI wokeism thing came from. You know, it wasn't just that you needed to hear what they had to say. You had to adjust your life to make sure you conform. And now they don't know what to do because in addition to all the stuff that Trump is doing with his nominations, they can see that nobody's going to care anymore. And so from the crazies who are shaving their heads to the crazies in Congress and in the Senate, the game is up. The gig is up. There's a new sheriff in town. You're going to have to get used to it. We're loving it. Maybe that's bothering them.
Days that what we do here at the War Room is just so amazingly enjoyable that the feeling you get and the buzz you get is incredible. One of the in this, you know, I was going to start with Thune 1 and the dead hand of McConnell and all that, and President Trump once again, what a rock star. He just, so Thune promised him some recess days, but promised him we'll stay here every day. We will get every one of his nominations through. And he gives the biggest, I guess, F you. Okay, here you go, bro. Here you go.
I don't understand. If I could see that, and I told you guys that he was testing him, how did these people not realize that they were being tested? How did John Thune, who is a senator in the United States government, not realizing you were walking into a bear trap? Covered it in the show earlier today. I'm like, dude, you completely failed. Trump is on the way home to West Palm, heading back to Mar-a-Lago, and he's listening to your speech going, this guy's a complete buffoon. Tim Scott, buffoon. Not one of you mentioned MAGA. Not one. You were asked a number of times, are you going to push through his nominees? Well, we're going to reach over to the other side. No. There is no reaching over to the other side. There's no other side. Finish them. Be a man. Understand you have an opponent on the ropes. Finish them. If you don't have a killer mentality, you shouldn't be in politics. This isn't 1975 or so where you're trying to talk nice and you guys are going to go play golf. No. They are the enemy. They would be doing it to you, and you damn well know they would be doing it to you if they were in the same position. They've tried. And now you have the opportunity to do a Mortal Kombat, finish them. Finish them. Sweep the frickin' leg. And the first press conference you give after walking out of the majority leader vote, the first thing you say is, well, we're gonna talk and see what they think and try to get a consensus. F you. You blew it. That was your one shot. Now Trump's gonna do what he's gotta do.
Start with Matt Gaetz, my new Attorney General. Matt Gaetz is the fiercest of the fierce warriors. He is the firebrand of firebrands. Matt Gaetz, single-handedly conceived of, in this very building, the Breitbart Embassy, conceived of the exact strategy and tactics and execution to take down a city, first off, to hogtie a sitting Speaker of the House for the first time ever, and to do it in January 23 with McCarthy, and then to take him out 9 months later after he had lied to everybody. That's the kind of individual Matt Gaetz is. Brilliant, determined, focused, relentless. That's what President Trump wanted. What you see with Weissman, and by the way, Weissman, bro, you are going to prison for so long. It's going to be so enjoyable. All of the everything that you guys did.